You can wake up in your desired state and lose it the moment you walk into someone else's mood. Their tone feels off. Their face looks different. They seem distant. They are stressed. They are quiet. They are not responding the way you expected. And suddenly, instead of staying in your manifesting state, you start adjusting to their energy. You shrink a little. You explain more. You perform more. You get careful. You start wondering what you did wrong. You start trying to fix a feeling that may not even belong to you. But what if the shift is not getting everyone around you to feel good before you can stay in the state? What if the real shift is learning how to stop absorbing energy that is not yours? Because this matters. If your manifesting state only feels stable when everyone around you is warm, approving, excited, calm, and predictable, then your state is still being controlled by the room. It is still being controlled by someone else's mood. It is still being controlled by whether the environment makes you feel safe enough to stay as the new version of you. But when the state becomes real, something changes. You still notice people. You still care. You still have compassion. You are not cold. You are not numb. You are not disconnected. But you stop making every shift in someone else's energy mean something about you. That is a major difference. Because a lot of people do not lose the state because something big happened. They lose the state because someone walked in with a mood. Someone answered them shortly. Someone seemed distracted. Someone did not match their excitement. Someone gave them a look. Someone was quiet at the wrong time. And suddenly, the old version of them takes over. The old version says, "Something is wrong. They are upset with me. I need to fix this. I need to make them comfortable. I need to adjust myself so this energy changes." But sometimes nothing is wrong with you. Sometimes someone else is tired. Sometimes someone else is carrying their own pressure. Sometimes someone else is in their own fear. Sometimes someone else is having a human moment. And sometimes their energy is not a message about your manifestation at all. It is just their energy. That is where the manifesting state becomes practical. Because it is easy to say, "I am in my wish fulfilled," when the room feels peaceful. It is easy to feel chosen when people are kind. It is easy to feel abundant when everything responds quickly. It is easy to feel confident when everyone understands you. But can you stay connected to your state when somebody else feels off? Can you stay in your desired identity without immediately adjusting to their mood? Can you let another person have an emotion without making it your assignment? That is where the real work begins. Let's make this real. Imagine you walk into work, or into a room with family, or into a normal conversation, and someone's energy feels heavy. They are not rude, exactly. They are not yelling. They are not doing anything dramatic. But they are different. Their answers are shorter. Their face is flatter. Their warmth is not there. The old version of you might start scanning immediately. Are they mad at me? Did I do something? Should I be more careful? Should I make them laugh? Should I explain myself? Should I change the way I am showing up? And before you know it, you have left your state, not because they took it from you, but because your attention started orbiting their mood. You stopped being anchored, you started becoming reactive, and this is where many people misunderstand manifestation. They think staying in the state means everyone around them will instantly become peaceful. But sometimes, staying in the state means you remain peaceful while someone else is still processing their own world. Sometimes staying in the state means you do not panic just because another person is not reflecting your desired reality back to you in that exact moment. Sometimes staying in the state means you stop treating other people's emotional weather like a prophecy. Their mood is not always a sign. Their silence is not always a sign. Their stress is not always a sign. Their distance is not always a sign. Their reaction is not always a sign. Sometimes it is just weather, and you do not have to become the weather. That is a simple way to understand this. You can notice the rain without becoming the rain. You can notice the storm without becoming the storm. You can notice the tension without turning it into your identity. That is emotional maturity. That is self-concept. That is the manifesting state in real life. Because the version of you who is living the life you desire does not absorb every room they enter. That version does not walk into a tense space and immediately forget who they are. That version does not need everyone to be in a good mood before they can remain steady. That version can be warm without being swallowed, kind without shrinking, aware without over-identifying, loving without losing themselves. That is the difference. You can care about someone without carrying their state. You can support someone without becoming responsible for their entire mood. You can listen without abandoning yourself. You can be present without absorbing everything. And for many people, that is new. Because if you grew up having to read the room, you may have learned that other people's moods were your responsibility. If someone was upset, you adjusted. If someone was quiet, you tried harder. If someone was disappointed, you blamed yourself. If someone was distant, you became anxious. If someone was tense, you started managing the atmosphere. So now, even when you are manifesting a new life, the old habit may still appear. You may say, I am chosen. I am supported. I am safe. I am living from the wish fulfilled. But then someone else feels off, and suddenly your whole body wants to earn peace again. That does not mean you failed. It means an old pattern is asking for your attention. And this time, you do not have to obey it. You can pause and say, this feeling may not belong to me. That one sentence can change the moment. This feeling may not belong to me. It does not make you careless. It does not make you superior. It just gives you space. Space to stop grabbing someone else's mood and turning it into a story about your worth. Space to stop making their reaction the ruler of your identity. Space to stop leaving your manifesting state just because the room got uncomfortable. Here is another example. Maybe you are excited about a change in your life. You are becoming more disciplined. You are building something. You are dressing differently. You are speaking differently. You are making choices that match the person you are becoming. And then you share a little piece of it with someone. They do not attack you. They just do not match your excitement. They give you a plain response. They change the subject. They seem unsure. They do not understand why it matters to you. And the old version of you wants to drop your own energy to match theirs. You start minimizing it. You say it is not a big deal. You start explaining. You start making your vision smaller so it does not feel awkward in the room. But the new version of you does not need someone else to feel the vision before you are allowed to keep it alive. That is the shift. You can let them be neutral without becoming neutral about your own life. You can let them not understand without deciding that your desire is silly. You can let them have their own reaction without handing them the steering wheel of your state. Because your manifestation does not need every person in your environment to approve the energy before you live from it. The desired state has to become yours before it becomes familiar to everyone else. Sometimes people will catch up later. Sometimes they will not. But either way, you cannot keep abandoning the state every time someone else does not recognize it yet. That is why this video matters. Because absorbing other people's energy can look spiritual. It can look empathetic. It can look loving. It can look like you are just sensitive. And sometimes you are sensitive. That is not a flaw. Sensitivity can be beautiful. It can make you intuitive. It can make you compassionate. It can help you notice what others miss. But sensitivity, without inner authority, becomes absorption. And absorption pulls you out of the state. You stop sensing. You start caring. You stop noticing. You start becoming. You stop being aware of the room. You start letting the room choose your identity. That is where the line has to become clear. You can feel what is happening without making it yours. You can notice someone's mood without entering it. You can be around uncertainty without becoming uncertain. You can be around tension without becoming tense. You can be around doubt without letting doubt become your state. That is powerful. And you do not do this by forcing yourself to be unaffected. You do this by coming back to yourself. Simple, quiet, again and again. When someone's energy feels heavy, come back. When someone's tone feels different, come back. When someone does not respond how you expected, come back. When the room feels tense, come back. When you feel yourself shrinking, come back. Not to prove you are above anyone, not to pretend you do not feel, but to remember, my state is mine. That is the practical reset. The next time you feel someone else's energy pulling on you, pause and ask, is this mine to carry? Not, can I feel it? Because you may be able to feel it. Ask, is this mine to carry? Most of the time, the answer will be no. You may respond with kindness. You may communicate clearly. You may set a boundary. You may listen. You may give space. But you do not have to absorb it. You do not have to become smaller to make the room easier. You do not have to turn their mood into your identity. You do not have to make their state more powerful than yours. That is where the manifesting state gets stronger. Not in a perfect environment. Not only when everyone is kind. Not only when everyone is praising you. Not only when everyone is calm. But in ordinary moments where the old version of you would have disappeared into somebody else's energy and the new version stays. That is embodiment. You stay, you breathe, you soften without collapsing. You notice without absorbing. You love without losing yourself. You remain in the wish fulfilled without needing the whole room to confirm it. And eventually, people may feel that difference. Not because you are trying to make them notice, but because you are no longer entering every interaction as someone who can be pulled away from themselves so easily. Your energy becomes cleaner. Your presence becomes calmer. Your choices become less reactive. You stop moving, like someone who is always waiting to see what mood they are allowed to have. That is what changes. You stop letting the room decide who you are. You stop letting tension decide whether your manifestation is still real. You stop letting someone else's uncertainty become your inner command. You stop letting another person's emotional weather become your climate. And that is when the state starts becoming real in the body. Because the wish fulfilled is not just what you imagine at night. It is how you carry yourself when the world around you has not fully caught up yet. It is how you remain when someone else is not reflecting the new story. It is how you return when an old pattern wants to pull you into managing, shrinking, explaining, or absorbing. So, if you have been feeling everyone's energy lately, do not shame yourself. It may mean you are sensitive. It may mean you are aware. It may mean you have been trained to read the room. But the new version of you is not here to be ruled by every room. The new version of you can notice energy without becoming it. The new version of you can love people without carrying their state. The new version of you can stay in the manifesting state even when the environment feels imperfect. That is the shift. You are not waiting for everyone else to feel stable before you become stable. You are not waiting for every room to feel safe before you return to your desired state. You are not waiting for every person to understand your manifestation before you keep living from it. You are learning to stop absorbing what is not yours. And the more you stop absorbing what is not yours, the easier it becomes to remain in what is yours. Your state, your identity, your assumption, your wish fulfilled, your manifestation. Subscribe and enter your manifesting state.